So now we head to another exciting panel discussion on a look back and look forward, reimagining engagement strategies with a customer-first mindset. And our expert panel members are, please welcome Aziz Amine. He is a Group Vice President of Marketing and Country Head of Friendly Pay at Virgin Mobile Saudi Arabia. He's a telecom expert with over 25 years of experience in the industry, leading as marketing, sales, commercial, and a managing director, as well as board advisor and a startup founder across European, North African, and Middle Eastern markets. Currently, he heads the expat segment of Virgin Mobile. Welcome, Aziz.
Thank you, Aziza. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you too, Aziz. Our next panelist is Sadeq Abdulrasool. He's the Chief Digital Officer of Bahrain's leading e-commerce project, Homies.me. Sadeq is an expert in the digital, IT, mobile technology, and strategic marketing fields, as well as a trainer from international awarding bodies. He has over 15 qualifications from Microsoft, Google, AWS, IBM, and Blockchain Council, just to name a few. Welcome, Sadeq.
Thank you very much, Aziza. It's my pleasure to be alongside with my fellows. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next panelist is Majed Alhamdan. He's a Markham advisor to reputable private and government entities. Majed is a seasoned marketer with over 20 years of experience across banking, telecom, and technologies, and industrial manufacturing industries. Majed is a notorious communicator. He's a storyteller and a team creator who lays down the foundation of Markham and corporate communications departments. And our fourth panelist for the session is Amjad Al Sabbah, Regional Director, EMEA at Sprinklr, who has just given the stellar keynote presentation, which I'm sure you all remember. And our star moderator is Ravi Raman, the editorial director at Martech Vibe, who does a fantastic job of bringing out powerful insights from all panel members. Welcome the panelists and Ravi.
All right, thank you so much, Aziza. And you do a wonderful job of hosting the event and putting all the panel members under pressure. All right.
So you'll do great. Thank you.
All right, so we're going back to a highly personalized selling to the universe of one approach in many ways. But now technology allows us to do that at scale. So my first question to this amazing panel is, what are the critical factors that impact one-to-one engagement at scale? I want to start with Aziz, and we go alphabetically. Majed, Sadeq, and then Amjad, you can come in there later.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. This is a very interesting subject. It's actually the topic of every business today is obviously the one-to-one engagements. First of all, I think the critical factor is actually to have an intelligence platform, okay? And that platform can actually act as a single decision authority across all your application ecosystem. And each channel, okay, of that channel or a system, whatever, should profit from that single source of customer intelligence and can actually leverage from there to gain some insights and to perform a relevant action accordingly. And as you all know, in today's world, obviously customers are more empowered than ever, okay? And as a result, they have a very, very high expectation, okay, when it comes to customer experience, customer service. So the experience you provide has to actually make sense to them. It should be within the context of their lives, of their obviously day-to-day activities and so on. And it has to have obviously a meaning, and it should also be personalized to them across obviously your different channels. So when we come back to this a platform of intelligence, or we can call it a customer decision hub, it should combine all your analytics, your business rules, your customer data, the data that you actually collect, okay, during this customer interaction, and then you create a set of actionable insights, okay, that you can actually use intelligently. And these decisions, we can actually call them the next best action, okay, for that very specific customer.
That's a fascinating opening remark as such. And Majed, I did see you nod your head to a couple of points that Aziz said. So why don't you take that discussion forward? Tell us, what are the other factors? So Aziz did mention about customer insight, personalization, but are there any other key factors that you've learned which really take the engagement level one step above?
Sure. I second everything Aziz said. Let's go to the basics. What is the purpose of one-to-one engagement? It's building that ongoing relationship with your client in order to assure returning client that will get use of your service and also promote it to others once he feels comfortable. And in order to achieve that, we always need to focus on knowing your client, understanding their behavior. As Amjad mentioned in a previous session, client behavior shifts very rapidly, and it is our responsibility to understand where is that behavior shifting to, especially if you are running a business or a company or a service provider that cater to multiple segments. That required multiple the effort because you need to cater and personalize as much as possible, although personalization is a goal hardly to be achieved in this era, but you still need to do your best in order to present the right content through the right platforms to your audience in order to sustain this relationship as long as possible. And within these days, it's really difficult due to all of the aggressive competition that is happening around us and the massive amount of messaging that comes out all the time. Now, you barely can engage in a platform or an app without having pop-ups or ad appearing in your screen. But
True.
at the end of the day, you need to be really smart because the client or your customers are smart and only getting savvier and smarter. So I believe that it's knowing your target audience very well, understanding their behavior, having the ability to analyze their data, their feedback, the comments that come from them. Because at the end of the day, as a service provider, you're obligated or your mission is to fulfill a service or a product or fill a gap in the market. And you are responsible to understand what your clients want. Because when you started that business, the core motivator for you was understanding a need and then
serving
the gap. Yeah, exactly. So I believe these are the two factors in the formula.
Wonderful. Sadeq, I'm sure you would agree and concur with the all the comments that we've heard. So I want to flip the question to you. We all know personalization is important. We all know it has to be contextual. We all know that to serve the customer better, we need to know the customer better. Tell us, what is stopping marketers from achieving all this?
Thank you, Ravi, for this question. In fact, before I do second both Aziz and Mr. Majed about what they have said, I a bit disagree about the sentence itself, customer first or customers king or customers always right, because those as a paradigm that has been introduced by those major players, big players, giga companies, which you can't even be anywhere nearby them. So such mindsets, this is where Mr. Steve Jobs, he had one said, people, they don't know what they want until you show them. So he was focusing about the objective, not about the customer itself. And this is quite a debatable subject about, are we being customer centric or are we being goal and objective centric? Because frankly speaking, nowadays, for all the platforms, solutions, services, tools, and so, talking about our experience, people always coming and telling us, honestly, like this feature is great in Alibaba or Amazon or Namshi or wherever. Can you have it in your platform? And so, yes, it's fancy, but it's not one of my priority. Okay, so goodbye. So understanding such or starting with your objectives and goals first, it will help you later on to go and really shape and craft your offering for the customers before you are telling them you are first. About how we are engaging, definitely with all the availability of nowadays technologies, about the segmentations, about the data collection, about the automation, the omni-channels that nowadays we are having. It's not a matter of the technology, it's a matter of your mindset and your proper implementations. This is what I can add for what they have said.
That's a great point, Sadeq. And anyone who quotes Steve Jobs gets extra brownie points. So that's wonderful. Amjad, I want to bring you in here. Tell us what is your perspective in terms of critical factors that impact one-on-one engagement, and what's stopping brands from doing that?
I think definitely what Aziz said, what Majed and what Sadeq said, it revolves all around, data. At the end of the day, you can drive that entirely by data, insights, going back to basics, understanding what the customer wants. Sadeq mentioning understanding the objectives. Sometimes customers do not know what they want. Is absolutely true. But what will help you be predictive is the data that you get. Take, for example, when you travel, we did a small study like a couple of months ago in the airline industry. We realized that lots of people talk about dryness and on flight. My hands are dry. It's as simple as that. My hands are dry. My face is dry. All that. This is just an insight ready to explode for product innovators. If I was an airline, I'll take this insights and build on it. Okay, so build on it a travel moisturizer. First class, business class, giving them that. Based on that insight, a small product that that can help them with the dryness. It's as simple as that. Data is driving the conversation and as you get closer to the customer, as you unravel this data.
That's a great point, and I think we should all run to L'Oreal with that idea right away. Jokes apart, I think what I also want to talk about is, and to be honest, I partly disagree with all of you, where I feel that the customer knows exactly what he wants, but perhaps he's not able to articulate it, or there are very, very deep-rooted needs which the brands have to uncover. So moving on, I think I want to get into AI and ML. Tell us, how has AI and ML augmented real-time decision-making? Because it all comes back to serving the customer in the right context at the right time. Aziz, I want to start with you and do the same round again.
Sure. Okay. So coming from a telecom background, we do obviously use artificial intelligence and machine learning within our CVM platform, okay, or customer value management platform. And basically, what does this do for us? It allows us, first of all, to predict the churn for our customers, okay? As you know, being in the telecom business, one of the challenges we have is actually the churn, people leaving the network after a certain age. So we use that to actually predict the churn and then react to that churn by basically offering the customer a customized offer as a retention plan to actually for him to stay on the network. That's one. Number two, also we do use artificial intelligence, okay, when it comes to the customer experience and also the product experience. So what we do is we basically analyze the behavior of the customer over, let's say, 30 days or 60 days, and then we come back to him with the right tailored, customized products. Because I think one of my colleagues actually pointed out that the fact that the customer sometimes doesn't know, it's not that he doesn't know what he wants, but maybe he doesn't choose the right products for him. So we do actually help him or create through our scanning of his behavior, of the data, and then we help him actually to choose the right products. And then the last thing which actually helps, when it comes to artificial intelligence is actually our content marketing. Because we have an app as a telecom operator, so we use lots of artificial intelligence actually okay, to provide the right content, the right products. And this actually saves a lot of money when it comes to actually paid media, PPC, advertising. It's really very efficient when it comes to your marketing spend.
Majed, what are your thoughts? Have you used AI, ML? How effective have they been?
I believe that AI and machine learning by itself is a game changer in any industries that get it involved in. I had the experience of working in in the industrial sector where relying heavily on AI and machine learning in order to produce different type of products. But what we should agree on is it's a new technology, it's a new trend, and it's only God knows where the limits of it are going to reach. But it will always rely on data, and the better your data are, the better results or decisions that you're going to make. There is no question about it that multiple channels now are provided for businesses or any entity to listen for the feedback. It's also helping with the amount of feedback that you receive, that the models that the machine learning will adapt can be really significant and helpful. What we used to do in months, weeks or months of data collecting and analyzing and coming with the proper action based on the finding now can be done in literally in days, if not hours, depending on the size of the data. But the point is knowing where to dig, knowing what type of information helps, knowing how will that reflect on my business model being more efficient, or it will cut me some saving when I do some optimization in my operation, or the reach, knowing what work or not, where do I get most conversion from in case if I'm looking after the results of my campaign and etc. So it's really a game changer. We need a longer time to have better understanding, but a lot of the platforms that coming out are providing very significant information that help us to react in a faster manner. At the end of the day, the name of the game is get you to your client faster, because they are smarter. I'm not with the fact that they don't know what they want. No, they know exactly what they want, and they are really savvy in this age. But you need to be respectful to their minds on what you present and how you present it, how you try to persuade them to be part of your community or member of a cult if you're presenting yourself as a cult. That's the game changer.
Yeah. So, Sadeq, I want to put the same question, but a little bit more specific, instance. Have you implemented AI, ML, and what has been your experience? What has been the kind of outcomes that you expected, and what did really come out?
Well, briefly, I haven't implemented it myself, but we have worked with many different solutions and systems which they have built and with machine learning and AI. And I can say that it is kind of shortcut, as Mr. Majed just right now said. The operations, the decision making, especially that nowadays, what I believe everybody right now working in such agile environment today are objective oriented but data driven. Okay, the decisions that we used to take in a month, as we were waiting, collecting, segmenting, clearing everything, clustering the data, now we can take it in a matter of hours. And in fact, it can be even faster if we are able to process and digest properly. That's my experience with both technologies.
Amjad, what about you? I know that a lot of platforms are obviously AI powered, without which they cannot operate at scale and offer the kind of customization and personalization. So what are the kind of key factors that you see emerging out of the induction of AI and ML?
I think the most important factor that we've been seeing around, especially in our region, especially in Saudi, because we have lots of big, amazing customers in the kingdom, and we've implemented AI for them. The major thing that's coming out is that their ability to really structure the unstructured data that you get from social media. This is extremely important. Take care, for example. Mobile is one of the leaders when it comes to the use of AI on our platform. What they've done is that they've implemented our AI on their digital care. What does that mean? That means they are able to identify which posts are engageable versus non-engageable, which creates efficiency on the contact center and on the digital care. So today I'm a digital care agent. I don't need to answer all these and look at all these posts that are coming in that are relevant. I want to focus on the ones that make sense to me, that can help me drive the better experience and can help me drive better revenue if there's an inquiry about an upgrade or a phone. And that's how we've seen AI create efficiencies. That's just one of the examples. I can go on for the next hour talking about lots of amazing case studies we've done with AI.
We should have a separate session for that. But moving on, I think you brought about a very relevant point in terms of almost like creating personas. Now, we've seen that the traditional personas that marketers worked on to a large extent is getting, I would say, smashed. What are the kind of thoughts? How do you think data and analytics is creating a better segmentation, which leads to better customer journeys? Amjad, I want to start with you and then go to Aziz, Sadeq, and Majed.
So in terms of personas, I think it really depends on the organization. If I get your question correctly, you're asking about what are the personas within an organization that are ones that are more, if you want to say, encouraged or more, swayed towards understanding.
Well, my question was, are the traditional personas that marketers or brands used to work with, are they still relevant? Are they changing? And what's driving that change, if at all?
Yes, which is the topic of my discussion this a few hours ago about how CMOs need to change their mindset. Many of them are, by the way, but how are they supposed to change their mindset and try to understand their own environment to be able to bring them together, break down those silos, within their departments to be able to unify, the customer experience. We've seen it, we are seeing it, and I spoke about in the beginning of my presentation about how it's my mission to help CMOs in the region drive this mindset. They need to get closer to their customer, and they need to be agents of unification and have the personas changed. Yes, we've seen a lot of change. Driven by technology as an enabler.
Aziz, what are your thoughts? How have you looked at the personas?
I think that's a very good question, Ravi. The old traditional segmentation was actually based on personas, meaning that you customize your product based on the persona. Is it youth within, for example, 18 to 25 years old? Okay, the demographic, is it, for example, an expat or maybe a citizen and so on. Now, the new trend is what we call actually the behavioral segmentation, which is based on the behavior of this customer. It's based, for example, on their browsing history, on their purchase behavior, on their, for example, habits, the time when they actually purchase, the time when they visit your stores, and so on. And to do this, and thanks to the digital, obviously, transformation as well, and obviously all this AI and machine learning, it helped actually develop, this kind of segmentation. And to be honest with you, this is the perfect segmentation to present a more customer-centric approach to these customers. And there were many research done in the past, saying that 1 in 4 customers is willing to pay more than the average price to get actually personalized experience based on his behavior, not based on his age or nationality or any other traditional, segment.
So that is one aspect of segmentation where you segment me as per my behavior, which to a large extent is backward looking. What about intent-based segmentation? Is that something that any of you are looking at? Is that even something that marketers can look at? Sadeq, what about you?
Well, frankly speaking, the most difficult, sophisticated, complex study nowadays are studying the behavior of the humans themselves. According to Jung, there are more than 16 different personalities, and those personalities is how you act and how do you react, how do you behave. There are like promoters, champions, leaders, everything else. However, once it comes for those personalities acting as your customer or users, believe me, there are hundreds of different personas. I have been involved even in governmental projects here in Bahrain. And believe it or not, when you are talking about the offline and retail customers, they have identified 29 different personas. When they have talked about the online personas, there were more than 530 personas. Just imagine all the ways that you might think differently when you are going online, when you are even your preferences for payments, for the theme, for the time, for the delivery, for scheduling, for everything else. So all of those because you are having this wide segment of areas which you can think of, starting from the demographics, interests, psychological factor, even the intent. Nowadays, you might tell me how you will think about the intent. It's all here inside, yet it's all expressed through the behavior, through the sentiment, through many different areas that it can do. So those understandings.
Sorry, I'll have to cut you there because I'm getting warnings about being over time. Majed, last few seconds before we wrap this up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's all about understand. It's a, to be honest, it's a two-edged sword. If you go deep into segmentation, you can get lost in the maze. But it's always understanding where the major capacity of my targeted audience is, not going deeper and try to accommodate as much as you can of your targeted audience, unless you are really in a niche market and a very high competitive market, then you should go the extra mile with that.
Got it. I think that's the wrap for our session. Aziza, thank you so much for giving us those few extra seconds. Amjad, Aziz, Sadeq, Majed, great insights. And we have a business idea coming out of this session. We're going to be patenting in-flight moisturizer. Thank you so much, guys. Over to you, Aziza.
Thank you. Thank you. What a great session. And I really love the healthy debate that was going on. Thank you, Ravi, and our amazing panelists for sharing your valuable perspectives and insights.